Looking ahead, if the Rockets win the chip, would you blame it on Golden State's injuries?
Hell yes. If you're going to ask me that question today, a month from now maybe, but if you're going to ask me that question right now, I mean, how can it be refuted? Steph Curry is gone. Klay Thompson is gone. Kevin Durant's gone. I mean, what do you want? I mean, what do you want me to do? That's an easy question for me. Now, Max can try and blame me all he wants to, but it can't be blamed if they're not on the court right now. You're asking me this question right now. What's today's date? March 19th?
Yep.
You're asking me this question right now? Right now. Stephen A., right now on March 19th, I mean, the way it's looking, if the Houston Rockets were to win the chip, would you blame the injuries? You're damn right I would. I'm picking Golden State because of the second best player in the world, because of the greatest shooter I've ever seen, and because of a third wheel that I consider one of the top 5 pure shooters of all time. So my attitude is that all 3 of them are out. And you're going to ask me, what would you? No, please. Of course that would be the reason. If they were healthy, I would be picking the Warriors with no hesitation or apprehension whatsoever. And I love me some James Harden. He's the MVP. Getting my vote this year, okay? Chris Paul, you know what I feel about him as a point guard. And I like Eric Gordon and Ariza. Mike D'Antoni could be coach of the year, too. He's done a great, great job. All right, we know this. But the Golden State Warriors are 3 games out, and their top 3 players haven't been playing. What's there to talk about? Really? Please.
As you say from time to time, don't be slick, Stephen A. We know what this question's really about. This question's about seeding, because you have said many times on this show, the Rockets need to win the West in the regular season to have a Game 7 in Houston. Then it's anyone's game, right? Okay, you still favor Golden State, but it's anyone's game. But they got to get that seeding. So really what this question is asking is, now they're 3 games back, and they've been hurt, and they're falling back. So the Rockets are likely to win the West in the regular season, be the number 1 seed. Therefore, do you think the Rockets will beat the Warriors in the playoffs? And if they do, are you going to say it's because the Warriors were hurt in the regular season?
You're the one being slick. You're the one being slick, Maximilian. You are. Because if you recall, over a month ago, we had a debate as to who was going to be the number 1 seed in the West. You said Houston. I said Golden State. What happens, what I'm trying to say is that if Golden State doesn't get the number 1 seed, it will be due to injury. Because I believe if they hadn't gotten hurt, they would be the number 1 seed.
You walked right into it.
The game, as a result, they would have home court advantage, and as a result, there wouldn't be a Game 7. That was my proclamation. But they got injured, and so now everything has changed because of injury.
You walked right into it because your regular season record is not weighted more heavily for late season losses than early. You just count them up, add them all up, and that's what your record is. So whether you lose early in the season or later, it's the same thing in your regular season record. Whether you lose games due to injury early or late, it's the same thing. James Harden's missed 8 games to injury. Chris Paul has missed 18. So, and by the way, because they're more top-heavy even than Golden State in terms of the concentration of their best players. Clint Capella's very important. Eric Gordon's underratedly important, right? People overlook how good a player he is. I understand. But they don't have the same kind of big 4 that the Warriors have. So an injury to either CP3 or Harden is actually bigger than an injury to any of the big 4 in Golden State. And they've had 26 games lost to injury to one of those 2 players.
When did CP3 and James Harden miss their games?
Earlier in the season.
When did you and I have the debate about who would be the number 1 seed?
Yeah, but what does that got to do with losing games to injury? You still got to add up all the games at the end of the year.
I'm addressing your point that you just brought up. At the time we debated this issue, we were saying from that point forward, who's going to end up winning the West? So what I'm saying to you is from that point forward, James Harden and Chris Paul were playing. Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Klay Thompson were playing. At that point where we had the debate on First Take, I said Warriors.
But that
you
doesn't
said
mean.
Rockets.
But
Since
that's
that
fine.
time, all three of my
That's
guys have
fine,
gone
but that
down.
doesn't. So you're saying because we had the debate at that point that Houston injuries
Right.
previous don't matter. The question is, if
Right.
the
That's exactly
if
what
the
I'm saying.
Warriors lose the West, are you going to blame injury? You're saying yes,
Yes.
you will, as though
Yes.
everything that happened in
Yes.
the season before we had our first debate about it doesn't count. Let me tell you something. It all counts. The
you're not
question
winning.
is, who's the better team? And this year, when
Without these three guys, you wouldn't even pick the Warriors to make the playoffs, man.
Stephen
the
A.
fact of the matter is they're hurt.
Stephen A.
I mean, what do you want me to do? They're down. They're down.
When the Rockets are fully loaded, they have one loss on the entire season by one
So?
bucket on the
So
road
what?
to Boogie and AD. So if you're talking
not
about who's
concerned.
performed better when they're fully loaded, the answer is Houston. And if you're talking about who's
What?
lost more key players to injury this year, the answer is Houston, 18 games of their second best player. 18.